So, do you have loves waiting for you once this is all over?
You know what? That is not the easiest of questions for me to answer.
You mean just waiting? Like a lovesick puppy? Short-term amusements are much less hassle.
Gods, are we not there yet? My feet are killing me.
Want me to carry you?
Oh, darling, would you?
Sure, if you promise to swap once I get tired.
Oh, please, I can barely manage my pack. You'd kill me.
Ugh, I hate swamps. The place reeks. Probably full of bloodsuckers as well.
Probably. I can't blame them. You're delicious.
If that was an attempt at flirting, I should let you know I prefer the strong, silent type.
Shadowheart, you wound me.
Your years in the Hells have made you a fierce warrior, Karlach.
Fierce in battle, maybe a bit naive in everything else.
In that way, you are like many a young Githyanki. Wise to the ways of battle, if not to the wider world.
Makes sense. And how are you getting on out here in the world?
Mindfully and meticulously.
Who will not permit himself to be held by you any longer, Shadowheart. He fears you will sacrifice him in some Sharan ritual of dark oils and leather.
Oh, he's far too precious for that. I'll go find a comely barmaid or guardsman instead.
A shrine of Selûne, tucked away like an unsprouted seed.
Another nature metaphor. I admire your consistency, Halsin.
When you care about something deeply enough, it consumes every thought and word.
Is Drow society, as the books say? It almost sounds tempting. Matriarchal power flourishing to its greatest extent.
It flourishes because the strong feed on the weak. Charming as you are, child, you would be nourishment for the matron's mothers.
Of course.
Biting flies. Midges. Ugh. Shouldn't nature be beautiful and serene? It looks so nice in the upper city parks.
Upper City, huh? Swish. Never spent much time there myself.
I'll happily take you, if we survive this bug's banquet.
Sounds good. I've always been curious what a patriarch looks like.
Do you have elder siblings, wizard?
You're about to say something awful, aren't you?
In Menzoberranzan, after a house has 2 sons, every subsequent male-born child is slaughtered at birth, as it is useless, even for breeding. You have the aura of a 3rd child about you.
Karlach, were there others of Zariel's warriors who bore the infernal engine?
I was the first. Not the last. But most didn't survive the process. The others were all devilkin. I think I was the only lucky winner from Faerun.
You were stronger than the others.
Lucky me.
The architects who built this must have been remarkable. Pity their vision didn't stand the test of time.
All's not lost. I mean, just look at this place.
You've quite the knack for finding the bright side of things, haven't you?
Hope keeps you going.
The boat's heading to Baldur's Gate. I'm almost tempted to stow away.
Try to abandon us and it won't go well for you.
I wouldn't actually leave. After all, where would you be without me?
Karlach, do I see you gazing long at Boo? You wish to have a hamster of your own, I think.
I wouldn't say no. But really I was thinking, how old is he, Minsk?
Karlach, Minsk and Boo thought better of you than to be so concerned with looks.
And he's always looked the exact same. No chance Jaheir has been swapping him out every few years.
I'm surprised I never saw you lurking in the shadows at any Baldurian balls, Astarion.
Yeah. The city's elite was not my target audience, alas. People ask questions when members of the nobility disappear, and the last thing Cazador wanted was people asking questions.
At what age do you think it is right to set a child upon mortal combat?
The moment it can hold a blade. It may even test its resilience against some common poisons while it is still in the womb.
Skvar. We do not willfully risk our young until they are of 13 years. No point wasting battle flesh before it's primed.
So, Gale, got any book recommendations for me?
You can read?
Very funny. Yes, I can read. School put me off big, boring tomes. Sometimes I wonder what I'm missing.
Ah, say no more. I'll find the perfect book for you. I might even lend it to you from my library in Waterdeep. Ooh.
Ooh. Something with magic, please. And no devils.
You're uncharacteristically quiet, Astarion. Awed into silence.
Awed? By this? Please. Size isn't everything. At least when it comes to temples.
Well, what would impress you then?
Oh, I don't know. But a little more colour wouldn't hurt. All the black and purple just makes me think of bruises. Oh.
Shadowheart, I saw you pluck Boo from the ground when you thought no one was watching. It pleases you to hold him? And you have truly cleansed yourself of Shar.
I suppose you're right. On both counts.
Then for one day only, you may carry him in your pocket. So long as it is clean, padded, well aired, and full of nuts.
Have you ever been afraid, Karlach? Truly afraid?
You know how much time I spent in the Hells, right? Of course I've been scared. I kept on going, though. Knew there'd be better days on the other side. And here they are.
Astarion, I just want to say, I judged you wrongly. I'm sorry.
Really? And how, specifically, have you misjudged my fine character?
You aren't actually insufferably randy. You're just insufferable.
Do you feel that? A darkness, pulling at the strands of the weave.
You'll still be able to do your wizard thing, though, right?
Of course. But that doesn't make the shadows less dangerous.
Joy.
It's all very grand, but so austere.
Did you expect anything else? This is how your gods project power.
But why not project power with soft furnishings and roaring fires? Maybe then I'd worship them.
Gale, Minsk worries you might send a fireball up his butt with all of this stringy hair in your face.
Is that why you keep your head shaved? I assumed it was a custom of some sort.
Oh, no. Most warriors of Rashiman wear long battle braids, weighed down with stone. Minsk can show you when next we camp.
Thank you, but I'm more wizard than warrior. Not sure my scalp would stand up to such a platting.
Halsin, if I were a druid, what animal do you think I'd be?
Given your memory issues, perhaps a goldfish?
I'd hope for something a bit more exotic. But would you carry around my fishbowl? Feed me flicks of food?
Only the finest, of course.
I used to be agog at everything when I first walked in the sun. Perhaps I'm adjusting to this new life.
It's when you use words like agog that I remember you're actually 2 centuries old.
And it's when you think agog is an impressive word that I remember you're just a child.
Must be lovely to have a swim without boiling all the fishes alive.
Sounds pleasant to swim with you. At a distance. It's usually so freezing.
Don't ask me to make a hot spring for you two. It might work, but I also might cook you like lobsters.
Gods, we're not back, are we?
On the Nautiloid, no. This is a different nursery. Similar, but not identical. There's likely one in every colony.
I don't care what's in every Mind Flayer colony, Gale. Nobody does. Except you.
Take no prisoners.
I doubt many will seek to surrender. But if they do, mercy costs us nothing, Karlach.
Nothing but the win.
Oh, I do not know, Boo. If you buried the nuts here before we were stone, I am thinking they might have gone bad.
Minsk, enough! The hamster isn't saying a damn thing, and you know it.
Well, Astarion, Boo is of good breeding, and so only speaks when he has something nice to say. Perhaps this is why he has never seen fit to speak to you.
How delightfully vicious. I'm beginning to like the hamster.
Well, well. Who's buried here?
Flaming fists, harpers, refugees, perhaps. The shadow curse has indiscriminate taste in victims.
May they rest in peace.
Peace and rest are strangers in these lands until the shadows are banished.
I can almost reconstruct this battle in my mind. Unfortunately.
At least you were not present. Grim as it is now, it was worse on the day of the battle. A vivid wound upon my memory.
Poor man.
Ugh, another ruined temple, full of foul-smelling beasts, spoiling for a fight.
No mere temple. This was a monastery, devoted as much to study as to worship.
Oh, how ignorant of me. So it'll be free of foul-smelling beasts, then?
Quite the opposite. Some monastic orders celebrated their pungency as proof of their devotion. To think is to stink, was the motto of one ill-fated brotherhood near Arm. Oh, but you meant beasts of the life-threatening variety. Yes, I'm sure it's teeming with those.
Do I hear music?
I reckon there wasn't much merrymaking in the hells.
You reckon right. Maybe for the best, though. My singing is worse than demonic screeching.
Perhaps your talent lies in dancing instead.
The shadows have lingered here so long, the land itself is corroded. A most persistent curse.
I think I know a thing or two about persistent curses, thank you.
The rashes and sores you may have contracted over your decades of philandering are not the kind of curse that concerns me.
You know, even devils like a good joke. Why are Sharans so, dour?
Their belief is grounded in loss. Hardly a laughing matter.
The loss of all joy. Sad business.
Moon lanterns to keep the curse back. Burly guards to fight off any monsters. I could get used to this place.
Don't get too comfortable. We shouldn't overstay our welcome in such a place.
No, of course. Why stay somewhere safe and comfortable when we could be in mortal peril?
I may not weep for my home, but I would take a mushroom over a flower any day.
I would have said I admire fungi as well, until I met such a thing you call a myconid.
Who is this large man of sternness and stone? Boo mislikes his look, as if he is knowing things that Minsk is not.
Relax, the both of you. It's Baldur, our city's valorant founder.
Ah, this makes more sense. Some relation to the Baldur who owns the gate, perhaps, Boo?
It's Baldur, our city's valorant founder. And now, the illithid we carry in that god's forsaken prism.
Ah, then Minsk and Boo prefer him this way. Better stern than smug.
Last light in. Hearth aglow and lanterns lit, just like 100 years ago.
I imagine the vista was more idyllic back then, as were its patrons' chances of surviving the walk home.
Still, though, when you are expecting nothing but desolation, even a small glimmer of hope fills the heart. To think, long ago, the Druids feared this market town would grow into a city and threaten nature's realm. Little did we realize what the true threat was.
Divination is a skill few can master. The rest of us must simply muddle along, content to view the past with a clarity the future rarely offers.
Perhaps I can yet turn hindsight into foresight, provided the curse is lifted. A better way for all. Whole generations were denied their chance to flourish. I must put this right. For them.
Hey! Something bit me!
Just an insect. I'm sure you'll survive. Besides, it probably figured you for a tasty treat.
Give me an aboleth over a midge any day.
That orb seems powerful. What can it do once it's extracted?
Nothing good can come of it unless it is contained. Why?
It might be useful. Who knows?
I must tell you, Shadowheart, the bathing waters here leave much to be desired. The ablutions offered at the Temple of Beauty in Waterdeep are far superior. And they have the most excellent soaps.
I was wondering why you always smelled like a wealthy dowager.
Shadowheart, you should know Viconia was not half so heartless as she liked to appear.
I knew her well enough. You might have travelled with her for a time, but she trained me. What's your point?
Only that I find it hard to believe that she could have raised you and felt nothing for you.
Perhaps she took some pride in her work, forming me to Shah's liking. She certainly relished wielding the rod. But who knows? Perhaps someone else made her that way, as she tried to do to me.
From sweet woodland to stinking swamp. Can you do tricks like that, Gale?
Easiest thing in the world, though I'd do it the other way around.
Ah, a glimpse of nature. Like a sip of water to parched lips, hey, Jaheira?
Baldurians think all druids to be hay-haired idlers, Halsin. Perhaps we ought not to speak of nature, but high art or politics.
I think on them also, but nothing matches the splendor of an ancient tree.
It is so. And should one favor bear form, that tree in particular makes for excellent back-scratching.
Probably best if I keep a low profile. They used to know me all too well in the elf song.
Wonder if our paths ever crossed in the before times. Were you always so sneaky?
I haven't survived for 2 centuries by being reckless, and I hope to survive at least 2 more.
Yeah, don't rub it in.
Brickwork and stonework. This place is far out of balance with nature. But the Oak Father will reclaim this all, eventually.
Not too soon, I hope. I've a craving for a soft bed, a hot bath, and a large glass of Arabellan Dry. None of which I've ever found hidden under a log.
You may thrive, but what of other life? A city is no place for wild creatures.
Cities teem with life. Rats, pigeons, flies. They count no less, for all their more pestilent qualities.
No shadow curse here. Wonder why?
Couldn't say. Maybe because an entirely different curse has befallen the tomb.
Always something, isn't it?
The Society of Brilliance has quite the reputation. Even Waterdavian academics refer to their works from time to time.
They talk a great deal, but do very little, which may be for the best.
I take it you're not inclined to study the wonders of the Underdark?
Its inhabitants and cultures, maybe. Its fungi and cave slime, no thank you. You know, I'm starting to remember that Worm's Crossing has a bit of a reputation, doesn't it? A tad mercenary, a tad sordid. Anything and anyone for a price.
Ah, but to little harm. Shouldn't we all be allowed to stoke a few fires from time to time?
You sound like you're speaking from experience, Will. Perhaps you'll have to give me a tour, refresh my memory.
Ethel mentioned Netherese magic. What in blazes does that mean?
Magic from the fallen empire of Netheril. Ancient, exceedingly dangerous, and quite unrivaled.
Wonderful. I'd hate to be destroyed by any common old magic.
Ho! Hello? Hey!
So, are you greeting invisible beings or just losing your mind? Losing your mind it is. Probably the tadpole. The weirdest things seem to be.
Home and hearth reduced to ruins. The shadow curse stole more than the light from this place.
That is why it must be stopped. Imagine a whole century of life and love denied the chance to ever take place.
Feed if you must, Astarion. But give me so much as a hungry look, and I'll drive a stake through your heart.
I do so very like spicy food.
Feel that? Gods are giving us the stink eye.
Possibly, but I wager there's something deeper at work here.
Then let's go digging.
The graveyard's ancient, but the graves are fresh.
Oh, feeling at home?
I haven't set foot in a graveyard since I became a spawn, thank you. Vampires are nothing like those other undead.
True. I've never heard a mummy complain about a wrinkled doublet or sour wine.
All gone. Devoured by the shadows. Oak Father preserve us. It's just like 100 years ago.
Stay strong, Bear Man. We're still here.
We are. Yet there is a burden to being the survivor. The witness to others' tragedies. It only grows heavier with time. I was lucky. I lived when so many did not. It would take me a day and a night to recite the names of all the friends I lost.
These Steel Watchers are impressive achievements. Worthy opponents, even for Githyanki.
In that case, I'll leave fighting them to you, so I can observe your technique.
I'm sure you'll find it instructive. Or do you simply want to avoid risking your pallid neck?
Perish the thought. We're comrades in arms. I will be right behind you.
A hidden shrine, dedicated to the Moon Maiden herself. Even amidst this darkness, Selûnites are stubborn enough to cling on.
Pretty beautiful, isn't it?
Cazador always warned us to stay clear of this neighborhood. Never said why, though.
The last spawn who tried was sunk into the cobblestones and left for the sun to find. I had an unfortunate taste for theatrics in my youth.
Ah, yes. That was probably it.
Look around you. Indulge your curiosity. Sorcerer's Sundries is the finest purveyor of magical miscellany for miles around.
Where's the axes?
What they sell is far more precious than mere sword or shield. They sell knowledge, ingenuity, the wisdom of mages past.
Sounds like more your thing than mine.
We should have been disarmed on entry. I'm pleased we weren't, but it's strange.
Walk freely? This place is as tight as a patriarch's purse.
We are permitted to walk so freely. Such a lack of discipline would be punished severely in Kalir.
No doubt they found me too intimidating.
Doing all right, Gale?
Oh, you know, still alive and kicking, despite being surrounded on all sides by an endless manifestation of darkness and decay.
I feel it too. Here if you need a pick-me-up.
This place was ruined rather thoroughly. I'm starting to forget what a habitable village looks like.
Your Sharan kin are responsible for this ruin. They purged these lands even before the Shadow Curse, and pillaged all they could find.
No, this must have been due to the battle. Lady Shah's warriors would have little interest in looting.
Come, Shadowheart. Do you think prayers alone can keep an army on the march?
Not my kin. Not any longer. Their past deeds are not my responsibility. Even those devoted to loss fill their pockets and bellies when the chance arises.
No, Boo. Istarion is a friend now. He would never bite you. Yes, vampire?
Yes. I mean, no. I am not interested in biting the rodent, is the point. Not least because he lives in your trousers.
Baldur's Gate harbours many a secret. Even the longest-lived explorers have yet to uncover them all.
I lived 2 centuries in this city, but it can still surprise me.
Speaking of, what were you getting up to all those years?
Let's not get into details. If Baldur's Gate can have its secrets, so can I.
It strikes me that for a mind flayer colony, there are remarkably few mind flayers about the place.
Squiddies have gone to war, is my guess.
On the Absolute's behalf? Well, there's an alliance I'd have been quite happy without.
Oh, this place brings back unwelcome memories of a tadpole slipping behind my eye.
Appalling. I am glad my memories of the infection are not so clear.
Oh, yes, I forgot. You had your love of the Absolute to mask the ugly parts.
Do not call it love. It was poison.
Mason's Guild. The Githyanki would call this an Ormalar, an alliance of Mlar. The Mlar may not be warriors, but they are no less valuable to my people.
And what is a Malar, exactly?
Builders, craftspeople, and the makers of the incomparable silver swords the Kithraki wield in battle.
Oh, man, adventuring is thirsty work.
There used to be a monastery in this region known for producing a wonderful ale.
That sounds like heaven. Wait, used to?
Oh, yes. Long ruined, I'm afraid. No chance of a frothing pitcher awaiting us there, but still. At least your thirst for knowledge is quenched.
You fight well, but you're so efficient. Why not have a little fun?
Fun? I fight to win, not to make spectacles.
What a waste.
Care for a dip, Will?
It would be my pleasure, Karlak. Once the Absolute's been crushed for good.
Heroics don't leave half enough time for messing.
What do you know of Umberly, Astarion?
Oh, lots. Rhymes with undersea, for one thing. Fitting, eh?
I suppose it is, yes. But perhaps do not refer to her as such. She is a vengeful, capricious goddess. Who knows what may cause her ire?
But she's fine with the Bitch Queen. Give her some credit, Halsin.
It might seem a bit ramshackle, but this place is a boast-worthy bar.
A bar is only as good as its cellars. Which vintages can we expect to find on their racks?
Here, a bottle is judged more by its ability to crack heads than the quality of its contents.
Ah. If that's the main criteria, then I shall reset my expectations accordingly. Water it is.
So, you know about these parasites. Will we survive them?
Only if my people extract them. The only other cure is the blade.
Okay. Wonderful.
We're not taking a boat to Baldur's Gate, right?
And give the Absolute free rein to use us as target practice from the banks? I think not.
Whew. My mum always said that Chionthar was unlucky.
The excess of refugees outside the city walls could easily become a surplus of labourers.
Careful, Minthara. As a drow exile, you could be classed as a refugee yourself. Not volunteering, I take it?
I am a daughter of House Bainray. I obey no authority except my own desires.
I don't suppose you've any clue where we are in relation to Waterdeep.
From this distance between Elturel and Baldur's Gate, I'd say a long way away.
Ah. That will make getting word to my mother rather tricky. No matter. What she doesn't know can't hurt her. Not at this distance, anyway.
Poetry is torture. Your master's quite clever, Astarion. Don't you agree?
You and I have very different definitions of clever.
Smell that, Karlak?
Fish?
Well, yes, but also trouble.
Huh. Your nose is better than mine, pal.
Gone. Swallowed up by the shadow curse.
Not before time. They hope to stand against Ketheric with little more than a trick of the light to protect them.
Worse, they defied Lady Xiao's power openly. Now they've paid the price.
Astarion! Fish! Astarion!
Minsk, please, slow down. Use your words.
Minsk has thought of how you might be a more virtuous vampire. Feast on fish instead. They are made of naught but neck.
It's a sweet thought, but, fish just doesn't have the flavor of full-blooded red meat.
No, you do not agree, Boo. I told you have been spending far too much time around the Pale One.
Think the bar is open?
I intend to find out. But we should scout around first. See who's in need of help.
You're good at staying in character. I'll give you that.
I must admit, some of the items here are quite marvellous.
Baldur's Gate prices, though. Not worth it, if you ask me.
I shall be careful not to ask you then, child.
Ah, no shadow curse. Plenty of funerary decor. I almost feel at home.
Stop gawking at the decor, Spawn. This place is dangerous.
Yes, as I said. Just like home.
Nothing like a brisk stroll through the forest to invigorate the spirit.
I was just thinking the same thing, but less poetically.
And without so much as a stirring from our tadpoles.
A girl could get used to this.
This place reminds me of a magpie's nest. Random baubles, doodahs and what have yous, all jumbled together without a care.
Fun, right? Who knows what you could find?
Danger, going by past experience. A cursed tome, an unstable spell, a haunted poppet.
Haunted poppet. Haunted poppet.
What sweet relief to shelter from the sky for a while.
Sunlight giving you a headache? You're not supposed to stare right into it, you know.
That was due to your insipid conversation. Half-elf.
Imagine what this place was like on the day of the battle. The ground must have been covered with the dead.
A tragedy. Just think of all that wasted blood.
You wouldn't actually feed in the wake of a battle, would you? You're not a vulture.
Oh, I don't know. I fed on things that would disgust most vultures.
These children and their pets lack discipline. Were they Githyanki, I'd recommend further training.
Not everyone approaches the raising of their young with such militaristic vigor.
That is the very purpose of training, to determine which children shall be warriors and which are suited to other roles. As for the unruly animals, they would make for nutritious marching rations.
That's certainly one way to make them behave.
Gods! Whoever thought I'd be happy to see the flaming fist? Being in a land of cursed, angry shadows, you start to see things in a new light.
Admit it. You're just glad to see some potential meals walking about after all those bloodless shadows.
You know, I've never seen this place in the daylight before.
I always loved this park. Spent a lot of time here as a boy battling imaginary monsters.
Oh. I was going to say it looks wretched. The dark hid all the kitschy details.
I can tell when we're getting close to a mind flayer area because everything starts to smell purple.
That's either profoundly poetic or childishly simple. I'm going with poetic.
A compliment from Shadowheart. I'll put it on the shelf with the rest of my achievements.
The mysteries of the monastery. The secret of the crags.
What was that? I really can't abide mumbling, Will.
I'm trying to decide on a title for this chapter of the Blade's adventures.
Haven't you ever heard, "Don't catch your chickens before they hatch"? Or perhaps, "Don't count your adventurers before they survive an arduous, danger-filled journey"?
These flowers are quite vivid, not to mention pungent. Not to my liking.
Are there no flowers in Tunarath?
In the City of Death, the Malar cultivate the fruiting bodies that sprout from the corpses of the slain.
Huh. I'd rather get them from my florist in Waterdeep. It's all the same to you.
These steel watches are big as hell.
All the more cracks and crevices for a wild shape to ferret into. Huh? Gum up the works a little.
I give my other horn to watch that.
We've had some close calls already. There could be even tougher days ahead.
Cheer up. It might be all downhill from here.
Meaning things will start becoming easier for us? Or our situation will deteriorate from here?
Exactly.
Have you wondered what people will say, Will, when they find out the monster hunter is becoming a monster?
I've faced countless perils and conquered them all. This will be no different.
I've always had a soft spot for the confident ones. They always disappoint, though.
That Zaithisk you mentioned intrigues me. Care to tell me a bit more?
An intricate device crafted by Malar, our most gifted artisans. I am sworn to say no more. I will only be welcomed once I obtain a Mind Flayer's head.
Did you expect to survive Merkel's wrath, little spawn?
You'd be surprised, Drow. I've survived a lot of things.
Greater horrors await us in Baldur's Gate. Best sharpen your fangs.
Lizelle, do you want to talk about what happened at the creche?
Trust me, you'll know when I'm ready to discuss it.
Fair enough. But if you change your mind...
It is not a matter of mind. It is a matter of faith, and I have been put to the test.
Shah's entire creed revolves around waging war against Selûne. Imagine all the generations of mortals sacrificed in an eternal conflict between sisters.
Take it from me. A short, sharp personal vendetta is far less time-intensive.
Father always shooed me away from this place. More rats than a water-deep dungeon.
It is most unfair to pour such scorn on rats. They have their place in nature, same as you or I.
And I don't get the sense that my father was being literal.
Why must the dead three be so obvious and ugly with their decor? Blood and bones, bones and blood. Pointy nonsense. At least Shah had some panache.
As did Mistra's home on Elysium. Her ribbed vaults and buttresses created a magic entirely of their own. Not to mention her pleasure domes.
Pleasure dome.
It's a perfectly legitimate architectural feature.
Do I see light? Or am I delusional?
Just a mirage. There's not a spot in sight that the gloom hasn't touched.
Damn. You're right. The eyes see what the heart wants.
Tombstones. I'd half expect to get a glimpse of Withers here.
Don't even joke about it. Bad enough that he's haunting our camp with his cryptic asides and his overall mustiness.
He's useful, as the not-so-alive, not-quite-dead go.
Death is the blade's companion. Isn't that what they say? I think I preferred it as a metaphor.
I cannot tell if you are more a deviant or a debutante, Shadowheart. I would like to test both aspects of your character when next you find yourself alone at night.
I'm not quite sure I like where this is going.
The statuary in here is so triumphal. Even the worst of us can see ourselves as heroes.
That is a truth that can evade minds far older than yours will. You are wise beyond your years.
Not wise enough to avoid Sharon's sanctums, apparently.
Flowers, leaves, grass. Can't beat it.
I was raised in the city. I'm more used to feeling cobblestones underfoot than grass and fallen leaves.
Before I went to Avernus, I'd have agreed with you. Nothing quite like Baldur's Gate, is there?
Nothing in my recollection, anyway.
We Drow are sensitive to psionic power, and this place throbs with mental power such as I have never known.
It threatens all of us, Gith and Mudworlder alike. But even the brightest blaze can be extinguished.
Extinguish it? I intend to seize it. Power exists to be wielded.
The road to Baldur's Gate is a long one. Who knows how long it'll take these folks to get there on foot.
If they make it. They're slow, vulnerable. Half or more will die long before Basilisk Gate.
Doesn't seem to trouble you a jot.
What good would it do for me to be troubled? We can't save them all.
Devoured by the darkness. They should have retreated while they had the chance.
And yet here we stand. We're either very clever or very lucky.
You do not need luck to survive, Astarion. Not when you have me.
You seem to know a good deal about our condition, Gale.
Everything, really. Not to put too fine a point on it.
A humble specimen, aren't you?
On occasion.
Smell that? Blood. This whole plain reeks of it.
That'll wake you up of a fine day, won't it?
I do not need awakening. My senses are sharp as steel.
How curious. The Shadow Curse has not touched this place.
And by the looks of it, its riches have gone unplundered.
A faultless observation, Lae'zel. Are all Githyanki so quick to come to the essential point?
I know what I see. My mortal enemies. And I know what must be done about them.
Careful, Lae'zel. It's dark around here. Would be a terrible shame to lose you forever.
Yes. Do keep your wits, Shadowheart. Should a dagger suddenly slice your neck, we may never know who's to blame.
So many unfortunates must have been infected in this place. Imagine the horrors.
I don't need to imagine. I've got the souvenir in my skull to prove it.
Of course, thoughtless of me. My apologies. But at least you cannot be infected twice. Or at least, I hope not.